Kia ora katoa, and thank you so much. Minister, I just want to acknowledge you for letting me speak first, and sorry for the confusion. Yes, Len isn't here. I've locked him in the stationery cupboard because this is one of the issues that I'm most passionate about, and I wanted to do the speech. No, I'm just joking. Sometimes life is a little bit chaotic, and we just need to reschedule. So I do apologise for that. But it is with absolute delight that I'm here. This is one of the issues that probably as an ex-Waitakere councillor has been part of my life for the last 20 odd years. How we make housing more sustainable, how we make housing work for our communities, and how we actually work collectively and collaboratively to make it affordable. I first of all want to acknowledge our Minister of Housing, Conservation, Building and Construction, Nick Smith, and I've been lucky enough over the last year to be working closely with Nick on the Housing Accord, and I have to acknowledge at a personal level we have had a fantastic working relationship with this man. He understands these issues to his core, and I feel really hopeful that we're going to see good progress. I'd like to acknowledge the wonderful Alex Cutler. Alex and the Green Building Council, thank you so much for everything you do. And also Rosine and Jib. I was speaking at a summit yesterday where Jib was one of the key sponsors, so thank you for all of that work. Now I do have Len's speech, so I might adapt it as we go. But like Len, this is something that is absolutely at the core of what the Auckland Council is doing. If we don't get housing right for our community, then everything else that we do is somewhat meaningless. The theme of your summit is affordability, quality and sustainability in housing, and those of course are the three absolute key tenets of good housing, and I can't imagine there's anyone in this room who disagrees with that. So let's start with a very brief acknowledgement of just where we've got to. I think, and I walked in just halfway through Alex's introduction and welcome, we really are in an amazing space at the moment. The whole issue of sustainability, affordability and quality housing is hot, and as we work through the challenges in Auckland in particular of getting volume builds happening, we have the most extraordinary opportunity to actually change the face of housing in Auckland quickly. This isn't a 10 or 20 year time frame, this is absolutely now. There'll be an extra 1 million Aucklanders within Auckland in the next 30 years. And for anyone who's still a bit dubious about that, just have a look at our latest migration figures. We are growing apace, and this is, as I say, a huge opportunity to make the best of this challenging situation. Treasury expects net migration to peak at 38,100 in the year to September. These are huge numbers that we're talking about, and we have to ensure absolutely that the way that our migrants and our community are housed are in affordable, quality, sustaining housing options. And options for housing, that's the operative word for us. We have had the same kind of product built in the same kind of suburbs for the last 40 years. And being the proud new owner of a state house, I have to say some of that stuff built in the 50s I adore and I love it, and I'm very proud of my old state house. But a 3-beddie house isn't going to suit everyone, and it's now apartments, terraced houses, 5 bedrooms and everything in between that our communities are needing. People want to live close to transport networks, and they don't want to live on the edges of town anymore. That's not a choice that people are making, and or any of us looking at buying property in Auckland will know it's the inner suburbs where people want to live, not just because it's flash and the coffee's good. People do not want to spend an hour on the motorway anymore, and that whole issue of transport poverty is being far more well understood. So this brings me to the unitary plan, which has all of these concepts absolutely at its heart. And despite all the drama and the media and all the rest of it, mostly the unitary plan makes sure that we go a bit up and a bit out. My personal belief is we've probably gone a little bit too much out. Not that happy with that, but we're going up. To build the trust that Aucklanders need to go up, we need to quality build. And at the moment, as we work through the Housing Accord, and again, Minister, big ups to you. You've understood the need for quality and you've supported us in that. There's been a little bit of discussion about the fact that we don't need to build quality, we can build ugly, we just need to build fast. Aucklanders have told us absolutely, and this is not negotiable, we will not tolerate ugly anymore. Affordability doesn't mean ugly, it means quality, sensible and good urban design and smart building, and that's what all of you extraordinary people in this room are all about. We've gone through the first, second and third tranches of the special housing areas, and we so far have 63 housing areas that are expected to bring forth 35,000 homes over the next few years. So we are, as I say, moving apace, and the opportunities contained within that are huge. Together with our partners in central government and the developers and the architects and designers that we're working with, we're seeing some really good examples of what can be done. Katia, the extraordinary work that you've done at the Hobsonville Land Company and in Hobsonville is a very good example of housing choice at work and a variety of different houses with sustainability at its base. And that's the kind of work we want to see happening. Particularly in the third tranche, we've got 7 strategic SHAs, and these are selected absolutely for their transport links and their accessibility to existing infrastructure. And this is part of our discussion. We can't keep going out and out and out. We need to make the most of the expensive infrastructure that we've got sunk in the ground at the moment. And as this discussion has at its heart sustainability, part of this is new and different ways of looking at infrastructure, looking at infrastructure that isn't all about one pipe in, one pipe out. How do we make these suburbs work in a way that is different and doesn't require some of this huge and expensive infrastructure? Again, these are quite difficult discussions to have, but you, many of you, and I'm looking around the room and I know many of you, you're at the leading edge of some of these discussions. So as we build this huge number of new homes, in Auckland, this is our chance to really get some best practice out there. The Mayor, and I can't take this part out of the Mayor's speech, the CRL is absolutely part of making some of this happen, particularly for the suburbs out west and where I live, and down south. The CRL is actually going to make the whole region work in a new and vibrant way. So as we think about what we do differently in our suburbs and how we build differently, let's think about how rail is going to be part of that. It isn't just about the central city, although we have developers coming out of our ears who are wanting to be part of the build that's going to happen adjacent to and in connection with the CRL. So we've seen the extraordinary stations that have happened out at Manukau. I was there the day before yesterday. Panmure, this new infrastructure that befits a 21st century city is starting to pop up from decisions that were made 10, 15, 20 years ago. The business community is also so much more part of this discussion than we've seen over the last 10 or 15 years. Again, as Alex says, this is a hot topic at the moment and everyone wants in, and I think that's extraordinary. Finally, just down to our individual homes and the important role of sustainability, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, this is the stuff that you live and breathe every day. But for me, as a city councillor, I spend time and I visit homes that are cold and damp. I visit homes where people don't have access to good community infrastructure, where communities are isolated by badly designed subdivisions that we are now spending your hard-earned ratepayer dollars retrofitting. We simply can never allow those sort of builds to happen ever again, and that's exactly what I know you're going to be focused on today. We need high-quality, affordable, good places for people to live, and those certainly don't stand alone. They are utterly interconnected. So just to finish off, within the proposed unitary plan and also within the housing accord, and thank you again, Minister, for making sure we did get that into the housing accord, is the Homestar 6 certification that ensures that we have good houses built. Now I know, and again we have some reverb in Wellington about why on earth we would have the Homes 6-star rating included in the housing accord and in the unitary plan. You all know why we would do that, and again it's good to get that support coming back via the submissions on the unitary plan for why some of this is so critical. We all know that if we're going to be able to afford to live in the houses that we built for the next 50, 60, 70 years, they need to be well built. And going back to my own little state house that I own, if we build them well, apart from things like needing to put in some underfloor insulation and some insulation in the roof, this is a house that's going to stand for another 100 years. The same can't be said for some of the houses built in the 70s and 80s. Let's never do that again. Let's build good communities. Let's utilise the intelligence, the creativity and the passion that's in this room and help drive the council and the government to carry on that collaboration and that working together and to do bigger and better and smarter. So thank you all for your time and energy put into this. I acknowledge all of you and thank you so much. Thank you.